Felt like I was ready for enterprise the day I was born. Basically, went into a role that was 100% commission based. So I cut my teeth there for about 5 years, became the #1 sales rep in North America. You don't need 10,000 prospects getting an email every single day. You need 20 people with a problem that you can solve, and then you communicate with those folks. Yeah, I think so. We're taking a little bit different approach. We're going to our network first. So we're going out to companies that we were driving multi-billion-dollar revenue generating systems for in the past. And we're going back to those companies and having conversations. We're building the infrastructure for the future now. I would say the top 3 go-to-market people at our company are pretty used to selling anywhere between 185 million and 250 million a year on our own. Of course.
How are you?
I'm good, my friend. How are you?
I'm very good as well. Where are you calling from?
I am in Boulder, Colorado today. I was in the
Wow.
Bay Area over the weekend up in Napa, Sonoma area for a wedding, and now I'm back home in Boulder. So not too shabby. How about you?
Yeah, you just spent, well, Boulder, Colorado is an amazing place. I mean, I haven't explored Colorado too much. I've
Yeah.
been skiing there mostly.
Hmm.
But it is a beautiful place. I'm in San Francisco, so
Okay.
basically where you were at.
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up in Santa Cruz, so not too far from the San Francisco area. Spent 3 years in the Bay Area before ultimately escaping to Colorado. So
How come?
I could not stand um, the traffic and lifestyle changes that San Francisco. I thought just the rent and everything that was there was much more costly. I've always had roles that I managed my own days and kind of my own approach. So I never really had to be in one location to keep a job. And so for me, it was about living somewhere where the lifestyle matches the way that I want to live. I like outdoors and biking and hiking and skiing and golfing and fishing. So all of
That's
those things are easier
awesome.
here.
Yeah, I was just gonna say because Santa Cruz is a mountain bike place as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so is Colorado, obviously. I
Yeah.
I actually just booked my a trip to Whistler, Canada.
Oh, cool.
Uh, so my first kind of like trip to the Mecca of mountain
Yeah.
biking, and I'm so excited.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
just
That's the mothership.
it really is. I can't
Yeah.
wait to rip a line
Oh, yeah.
and do
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
jumps and yeah, I grew up riding bikes a lot and did some BMX racing, so
Oh,
this
cool.
was always a dream.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. We this weekend we're going up to Beaver Creek, and in the summer, Beaver Creek turns down their ski board. They go from snowboarding basically into mountain bike season starting about now. So they're just turning it over. So my wife and I are going up there for our anniversary. But as the baby sleeps, Dad will be out mountain biking and getting around and having a little fun on the bike during the nap times.
What an amazing anniversary.
Yeah.
I'm also trying to get my wife into biking, and yeah,
Yeah.
she's doing great.
Yeah.
It's awesome that you can do that with your partner too.
Yeah. It makes it a lot of fun.
It does. Well, again, great to meet you.
Yeah.
Before we dig in, I'd like to give you a little bit of context. So I'm the founder of Imperial Arts. We generally partner with B2B SaaS companies to increase their revenue and profitability by acquiring new clients. And that is why we're interviewing the leaders in this industry, previously people at Mercedes-Benz and Cisco, and now you.
Yep.
Basically to get deeper insights into the market while also providing value back to you in the form of this podcast. It usually takes around 30 to 40 minutes.
Okay.
Does that work for you?
Yep. 30 to 40 minutes is fine. I think I blocked off an hour for you. So
Sweet.
yes, I can.
So
It's
let's
right.
jump into it. I understand that Augment provides some AI services, and I would love to hear more. Could you share some insights into your business and the role you play with it, and maybe a little bit about yourself as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Noah Sturm, SVP of Sales, Augment AI. I've spent the last 14 years in complex enterprise sales. When I got out of college, there was kind of 2 routes to market as I looked at it. You could go into into like an SMB tech role, kind of get your teeth cut in an SDR motion, and then continue to build yourself up into an account executive role. I felt like I was ready for enterprise the day I was born. That's how I always describe it. Like I felt like that's where I wanted to be. That was the job I wanted. I wanted to go after much larger, meatier deals inside of larger organizations. And so I kind of skipped the step, basically went into a role that was 100% commission based with a paper company by the name of R.R. Donnelley. And so I cut my teeth there for about 5 years, became the number one sales rep in North America at RRD. And then I learned in there how to navigate complex deals, manage quotas, and build trust across long sales cycles. Like it wasn't flashy like the technology industry is today. And so from R.R. Donnelley, I ended up moving to a company by the name of N3, who is a fast moving sales acceleration firm focused on outsourced inside sales in a performance based contracting model, which meant that they were not paid unless the revenue goals were achieved and the outputs and the KPIs were attained across the board. And so we were consistently operating somewhere around 330 go to market motions on a daily basis across about 15,000 inside sellers. So you could imagine we were constantly under a microscope and telescope at the same time of being able to look for granularities and realities inside of those systemic patterns. We got really interesting to a company by the name of Accenture, which I'm sure many people know. And we were ended up being acquired by Accenture to help lead their outsourced go-to-market business across data and AI, applied AI applications, digital marketing, sales, customer success, and support. And so as you can imagine, we got full visibility into every single sales technology that you could ever have run into, from the CRMs to the telephony systems to the sales assist technology that existed in the market. And the one thing that became very evident to me, and then to also our leadership team at Augment AI, is that we saw problems over and over: wasted seller time, buyer confusion, too many tools, too many threads, forecasts continuously driven by guesswork, not true signals, and basically like integrated point solutions duct taped together with the hope of creating a streamlined experience for your customers. And what ended up happening is, through those disconnected experiences, we noticed that the world was on the forefront of what we call third generation technology. First generation was CRM. Second generation was MarTech technology, automation, point solutions, things like that. The third generation of technology is where I say buyers fight back. The power dynamic in sales, because of automation, has moved from the seller back to the buyer. And your technology needs to be focused on building individual, one-to-one, tailored experiences for your prospects throughout the entire customer journey. And so Augment helps you do that in three core categories. It helps you improve the people experience by matching buyers and sellers that have the same affinities, personality profiles, and experiences into one room. That allows you to continue making up and matching as both the buying group expands and the selling group. And then through our AI reference and contextual database that's actually trained on Noah, our CRO, and the other 125 years of experience that our team has had in selling. And then it learns from your top 10% of your sales team and then provides guidance to sellers in your low to mid stack ranking for them to perform, act, and communicate like your top performers. And then our last component of it is we call it a decision hub. But inside of that decision hub, your buyer is going to continually have all the information that they could need to be able to advance an opportunity inside of their organization. Think about the practical application of, as someone who managed about 120 relationships at the enterprise executive level for Accenture, I was continually asked, hey, I'm walking into a meeting with my director of finance. I need to understand the key details and the information and the talking points that are relevant for this individual. And so I ended up doing that 22 different ways for 22 different individuals inside of this organization supporting my champion. Now with AI, and I call it Noah 2.0, which is my co-pilot in the tool, I no longer have to think about those things. They're done for me, approved by me, and delivered to them in real time. And that's really where we're moving as a business.
Wow, that's amazing. It must empower your clients a lot to have some of those systems automated. It kind of goes beyond the whole client relationship management. It really goes into a more personal nuance and really helps you close those deals, even build relations, like you said,
Absolutely.
internally.
Yeah, I was
Well,
going to say, like, Salesforce was built in 1999, right? Long before AI reshaped how we sell, decide, and deliver. Like, that's the challenge, is our sales technology that's out there today was built with a significant amount of technology debt and infrastructure development. It's not actually streamlined for how AI applications are going to work. Data lakes, we're living in a disparate data lake environment, and AI, the practical utilization of AI is reliant on clean data infrastructure that allows you to streamline insights and information to be able to find the right answer at the right time. And right now, the infrastructure across every single company I work with, every company I used to work with, is the same exact way, which is siloed information, siloed teams, and siloed personnel create an experience where disconnected systems fragment not only your customer journey, but your employee's journey to being your top rep as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We hear that all the time, and it's so cool to see companies actually solving these issue and these hyper focused needs that customers actually have. Can you tell me a little bit about the current trends in the market that you're aware of? Where are the winds blowing, and what are you noticing?
Yeah, I think there's two things that have become really so I when I first started with Augment, I took the approach of I want to get immersed in what other people are doing in the market. I really want to go out, listen to demos, understand what other product and applications people are building, learn from the builders, learn from the people really driving AI native technology forward. There were two things that really stuck out to me along the journey. The first one was we're living in a world where practical expertise is going to drive the foundational execution of the platform that's being developed. So if like I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day, and the quote I gave him was, like AI native companies are moving so fast right now that we're no longer in a world where a feature or a function is safe inside of a business because speed alone is not enough to bring sales technology forward or any technology, right? You can't fake experience of carrying a quota, losing a deal, working on a Saturday to try to get something over the line. The winners in this space and in every space are going to be people who have lived the grind and know where the old playbook breaks down. Because what AI is going to allow companies to do is build so rapidly that all of this 10-year, I mean, some of our competitors have had what 10 or 12 years on top of us right now. We've cut up to feature parity with some of these companies in 4.5 months.
Wow.
So there's no longer the age of we need to hire 95 developers and then you got to go build the technology. It takes you 12, 18, 24, 36 months to try to catch up to what they were doing 3 years ago. We're catching up in days and minutes and hours, and it's no longer us waiting around and waiting for things to happen. So I think that's really the biggest shift I've seen in the market is I'm focusing on bringing on partners and vendors and customers that think differently, have practical execution experience, and know where the future is going today, and trying to solve the problem that I believe is created across every technology system, which is if your customers are not the only focus and your day-to-day execution of how you operate, then you're missing the entire point of really bringing your product and intuition to market.
That's such a different mindset from what we usually hear. We usually hear or often hear, oh, just one more feature. Oh, we just need
Yeah.
that. Oh, we need this. But in reality, it's more about growing the business and getting more clients and then adapting to their needs. So
Yeah.
instead of guessing and thinking one more, I think people get stuck in those ways. So if
And
you look at your
I would say that's why if you look at SaaS market profitabilities, like this is what I focused on when we built Augment. I said, we're going to build a very nimble, scalable organization, and we're going to focus on revenue per employee at a level that hasn't been attained before. And the reality of thinking that way is that we are doing everything in a agentic first style of motion, identifying really where people fit in to our operating process and execution of our business, and then doubling down on the right people. To me, the real goal in AI is if you get a core team of individuals who think the same, think differently, and execute at a really high level, you're going to be able to do more with less. Like the benefit of having A players in the modern age of AI is much more prevalent than bringing on 25 C or D players in your organization.
How easy is it to attract and retain high quality team members?
Yeah, we are finding, well, luckily for us, our leadership team has been in place for, like I said, about 120 plus years in B2B sales and experience across a number of companies. So our go-to-market motion, we know and have a long Rolodex of people that we would be bringing on from a hiring perspective. We just went through a recent hiring of a few different development roles on our team. I was actually very markedly surprised by the talent that is available on the market right now. People are really interested in going and solving a different problem. I think that's really where people are getting excited about the potential of coming to work for Augment and some of these other companies is we're kind of at the forefront of doing something different. And, in any kind of first mover environment, the faster you get on board and the faster we build, the easier it will be for us to really be the first mover and retain that growth opportunity that exists there. So we're seeing, I mean, I think we had like 300 and something applications for our first role. And that was about 4.5 months ago. We've seen that
Yeah,
pretty
that's a
consistently,
lot.
like quite a lot of people applying for roles.
Yeah,
But we've found really great folks, and like the recruiting firm that we worked with was really good at kind of, distilling down that list of people that we were really looking for in that specific opportunity. But I've been pretty surprised at the interview process here because I did it at Accenture and hired, probably 50 people there. It was much more seamless. Maybe it's because we're a smaller, more nimble company now, and there's less gates to jump through, but it seems much
absolutely.
more approachable.
Absolutely. So, you were talking about having already feature parity with a lot of these other um, tools out there. So, when you look at the next 6 to 12 months in your business, where do you see the biggest opportunity for growth that you're really excited about, and where do you see the biggest gaps that need to be fixed in
Yeah.
terms of growing the company and the
Yeah.
bottom line?
Yeah, I think so. We're taking a little bit different approach. So since I've just come off and my executive team have just come off, managing 100 plus executive relationships, we're going to our network first. So we're going out to companies that we've worked with in the past that we've solved big problems for, that we were driving multi-billion dollar revenue generating systems for them in the past. And we're going back to those companies and having conversations. We're building the infrastructure for the future now. What I'm trying to deal with is I don't want to live in a world where we exist, where sale by email is the most effective way to manage your business. When I look at really what we're calling the AI cliff, and this goes back into what our plan is to move forward, the AI cliff in the market right now is that we are confusing productivity and activity for execution. And we are allowing cadences to run amok, emails to get wild, and we are burning through our TAM faster than we've ever been able to do in the history of sales and the history of growth marketing. And I think we don't just think that, but there is going to be a pushback when you look at connection rates on the phone dropping below 1%. You look at email response rates hovering at about a quarter to a half a percentile in reply rates. You see LinkedIn automation now being done so everybody can get out messages. There's just more and more and more. And so really what we're focusing on is building out account lists of about 250 organizations that we have at least a C-suite or director relationship with, building out what the future view of what they should be doing for their organization, how that aligns to our roadmap with the problem statements that we look to solve, and then helping them see a different future than exists today. I think the biggest gap we have is it's whether or not clients really want to change. You have to find visionaries. The biggest gap in our go-to-market process today is that you need to be willing to take on a large enough transformation opportunity in your business that you circumnavigate what you've trained your sellers on, the technology you've already built, the infrastructure that's already developed, and you believe there's a new way or a new path forward. Those people don't exist in every single company, and that's just the reality. So I always say, we're looking for co-conspirators, not just customers.
Mm.
Because what we're trying to build, we want to conspire with you and the team at your organization on to truly make sure that the technology premise and promise that we're making to you on the front end is something that is future proof and built for the world of AI native technology.
Yeah, that completely makes sense. I mean, change comes usually from the top at these
Yeah.
companies, and unless you find these visionaries that want to make that change, it's difficult to establish that in the company. So I completely understand the struggle of finding the right people.
Yeah.
And as a follow-up question to that, how important is it for you right now to build more strategic visibility? So whether that will be the company branding or positioning or just getting the story out there and
Yeah.
educating ideal partners and clients clearly, is that something that you're looking into?
Yeah, we are definitely so we have partnered with a few different agencies on our side. So the way that we've kind of built and analyzed what our first path forward is, I didn't want to get caught up in the world of going out and building more clay tables or going out and sending more emails through someone like Unify and doing all these different things. With that, I've built MarTech infrastructure for the last 5 years at Accenture for companies, Fortune 100, Fortune 75 brands, right? So we've built go-to-market end-to-end operating systems for most of these companies. But the challenge I see in the market is there is so much change so quickly taking on right now that not only are our clients, but even we are evaluating all these different point solutions that can do one thing for you throughout the go-to-market chain. And what we're being very consistent with and focused on is identifying the right partners to come out with the right messaging and with the right level of visibility at the right time. So we will be pushing a much broader kind of visibility net, I would say, in the next 2 to 4 months as we start getting outside of our network and starting being forced to go sell into, much less friendly places. But we're attacking that in two different parallel paths. I have always been an indirect believer. So the first thing I did when I came to Augment AI was build a partner channel infrastructure. We built a reseller model. We built a referral model. We built a strategic partnership go-to-market approach, and we started onboarding a number of indirect partners that we have known for a while or that are market leaders in things like marketing automation technology, sales automation technology, advisors to firms on B2B sales, fractional CROs, fractional CMOs. So we've gone out and found these webs of individuals. We've brought them on as co-conspirators, taken their knowledge and applied it into the platform so that we can build their expert language model for their clients who they're coaching and building for, which has allowed us to walk into some of the SMB and mid-market companies we may not have relationships with, but that they have a large web of these types of companies. And so that's been a huge pillar for us to get our visibility out. But the next thing will be, to me, creating kind of what I consider the visibility network, which is how do you bring your customer through an entire journey with your brand, whether it's on the web, on their phone, or at home? How can you bring them through that journey of understanding why this problem is important to solve now and why, they need to do it quicker than the person next to them?
Yeah, there's a couple things you mentioned here that I would like to dive a little bit deeper in. One is your kind of business development and client acquisition processes, and the other one is finding the right partners to work with. So if we start with the first one, in your recent experience, and I know you touched on this a little, would you say your business development and client acquisition processes are where you want them to be, or are there still parts that feel slower or heavier than they should?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think anytime you start, things feel slower than heavier than they should, especially when I would say the top three go-to-market people at our company are pretty used to selling anywhere between 185 million and 250 million a year on our own. So if we were doing that right now, we'd probably be the fastest growing company in the world, right? And so there is a huge difference, in my opinion, of going from a role where my quota was $175 million a year or $130 million, and then moving into a role where we're selling average ACV deals of 50 to 500,000, and we're targeted at about 2.5 to $5 million, going after a pretty big growth number starting from zero. And so I think there's always gaps in the way that we go out to market. My CEO and I, Andrew Fritz, we always talk about the complexity problem. We have come from a world where complexity sold the deals for you. If you could create friction, create the complexity narrative inside of that business, it would sell the deal for you, basically. You would prove there's a problem. The complexity web would make them feel like they can't do this on their own. They're going to need a partner to solve that. It is very different in the modern technology landscape when you start building complexity into these landscapes and into these conversations. Clients are like, this sounds harder than it really needs to be for us to go solve this problem. So we've had to learn pretty quickly of like, I call it see, solve, simplify. Those are the three things I focus on, not only in just BDR work or kind of getting the message out with people is you have to make someone see the problem. You have to show them why they should solve that problem. And then, then you simplify that problem for them. So like break it down into kind of those three steps. That's what I talk to our customers about. We know there's a problem. You're not solving for it today. And, I'm going to simplify that problem for you over time. And so
Yeah,
that's really where we focus.
You mentioned also something about creating a system where you could guide the customer into the
Yeah.
right place. It sounds a little bit like some sort of a funnel system. But if you did have a magic wand that you could wave to solve one main thing, what would that main thing be?
Yeah, I mean, it would be really nice if like 10,000 CROs showed up on my doorstep tomorrow and started shaking my hand and asking me questions about how great our product was. I mean, if
Yes.
I had a magic wand, that would be awesome. I think the next thing is really, for me, is I think we need to do a more effective job of building our brand online. On LinkedIn, my CEO, myself, and our executive leadership team really need to put in the time and effort to tell and talk about the problems that are existing in B2B sales. And the best way and most effective way for people to do that, I think, is to communicate on LinkedIn, to build a presence, to be real in the fact that we're building something new and the challenges that come with that. And so I've started kind of the legwork on that. We've started to, build up, but I think brand awareness is the key and path forward in the future.
Yeah, it's those inbound signups that everybody is looking for that you can generate while you
Yeah.
sleep, and not
Yeah.
just with your sales team. So yeah, on the topic.
As a team that managed outsourced inside sales, I tell you, my most exciting part of my day is doing outbound. Like I'm the BDR, I'm our SVP of sales, I'm the account manager, I'm the account executive, I run onboarding, I do support, I do customer success. Like that is why I'm here. I love that aspect of this, and then we'll build those capabilities as we continue to move forward and hire more people and do things like that. But that's really the fun aspect of this is really going out and building a narrative, identifying a challenge for business, and then making your messaging relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it really sounds like sales is a passion for you, which is awesome that you have that. And yeah, to go back a little bit to your point about finding the right partners, would you say that when it comes to building or scaling teams to help drive growth, do you think you prefer doing most things yourselves, or are you more focused on finding the right partners and systems to take things off your plate?
Yeah. I think so. For me, people do things better than we do, right? And I know there's companies out there that do specific things more effectively than they do. There's people that do things in the go-to-market execution that are going to be more efficient and effective than we are in terms of building it. There are going to be components of that in the L&D and training environment for sellers. We're bringing on partners to be able to help with sales assessments that we want to run. So we're finding different nuances in our business and areas that I call like non-investable, approachable areas. There are going to be people that are going to build, have enablement tools. They may have these other kind of infrastructures. We want to be the platform that stitches everything together. That's our goal. So we don't have to be the best in every single point or every single avenue and ecosystem and all these other places. We want to find strategic partners that can support us in those categories. Because I believe the thing that kills companies is building for too long.
Mm.
The faster you can bolt on and test the applications that you want to run or the features or pair, like whatever you're trying to build, the faster you can run tests with companies that are already integrating and doing those types of things already, you can figure out whether or not that's something you want to build in the long run.
It's such a great insight. I mean,
Because you could spend 6 months building something nobody wants to freaking buy. But
you're right. You're
tomorrow I
right.
can find someone who already built it, put that into the platform, charge an extra $30, or just give it away. See
Yeah.
if people will use it, see if it's something that people really like, and get feedback from your customers on it. Give them like a flagship co-conspirator opportunity to test out new core capabilities, and then get feedback. And if it's something that we really want to build natively, then we'll go out and do it. But I think in this world, you're better off stitching than you are building everything.
Yeah, it's always an iterative process, just building something and getting it out there and then improving and improving and improving with time and not just guessing what people need, but actually listening to your customers. I
Yeah,
couldn't agree
absolutely.
more.
Yeah.
What are the most important metrics for you right now? Is it new clients? Is it the pipeline growth? Is it meeting with new prospects? What's kind of looking at you right now?
Yeah, I think so. I was just going to say, I think legacy SaaS platforms are facing scrutiny as customers demand clear, measurable ROI. So that's one of the KPIs we are working on with our clients is developing clear, measurable ROI and impact on their business. And so that whether that's in a take rate fashion, performance-based contracting style of model, we're evaluating a number of different ways to go to market in that fact. The most important indicator for us is the first meeting. We are getting second dates. We are going down the process with nearly everybody that we've worked with so far. So we haven't seen large challenges in that side of the business. I think the main thing for us is driving more meetings with more complex organizations that have a ACV on their side of the business selling into customers probably above $50,000, and that they're managing anywhere between 4 and 8 different stakeholders in a sales cycle. But that's really for us. If we get a first meeting, we're going down the path the most of the time.
Yeah, definitely. I hear
It's getting
you.
the meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, you talked a little bit about having those 10,000 CROs on your doorstep and
Yeah.
building the brand online and creating that funnel for users for
Yeah.
inbound signups. And one thing we love about the leaders that we interview is that they're usually really open to new ways of solving old problems.
Yeah.
So how do you personally approach finding new strategies or partners to help drive growth in your business?
Yeah. So I have been a firm believer in asking. So I go on LinkedIn at least. I mean, I'm on there every single day, but I have a network of people that I've known for a long time. And inside of that network and both outside of it, I'm asking individual stakeholders on different go-to-market themes and things like that. And then they're introducing me to 10 or 20 different brands, right? So I have like a friend who's an executive at Informatica. I have a friend at these other companies. They're using a bunch of different tools. They're doing things differently. They're trying to go out and, try to do things differently as well. So I'm getting advice from them on like, who should I be talking to? What have you seen that's cool? I go talk to the consultants who, they're meeting with thousands of brands a year to try to figure out who's the next whiz, right? Or someone like that. Like who's the next big, security company or someone coming out in the AI native technology landscape. So I'm doing a lot of conversations with them to find what I consider interesting applications in B2B sales. There's a really cool company by the name of Syft AI, SYFT.ai. They're a human in the loop. We are co-conspirators together for sure. They're a human in the loop style of go-to-market platform that identifies 20 key insights for your brand on a daily basis and exactly what people are talking about, why they're talking about something that would fit inside of your use case, need state narrative. And to me, that's what people need to be focused on. You don't need 10,000 prospects getting an email every single day. You need 20 people with a problem that you can solve, and then you communicate with those folks. And so I go back to the whole point of like, don't burn your TAM, right? Identify the tools that are going to build with you, that have practical experience and domain expertise in the space, and that can, really bring to light what you're trying to solve in the market. Because what really happens today is, I'm sure your email looks like this. I wake up every single morning to an email that says, how would you like 178 more SQLs by tomorrow? And I'm like, okay, well, as someone who's built all these revenue engines before, that's not how this stuff works. Or they email me and they're like, 7 different emails with the same message about a different company, or telling me that, hey, Noah, like, you must have 50 salespeople at your organization. We have 3. So like there are, that's the problem with automation, is that it's almost run amok now. And so I think when you go out and evaluate tools, I think finding founders that have lived in the problem that you're trying to solve is the most important thing for me when I look for partners and people that will help us scale.
What a great insight. It really shows that you've been and done it all. You've tried everything that works. You found the few things that actually work, and you run with it. What a great insight. I would love to ask you here is if there's anything that you'd like to share that I haven't asked yet.
No, I just think, one of the things as I think about, so I think I talked a little bit about this, right? And I think it's not just more. I think everybody needs to take a step back, right? I think everybody needs to identify solutions in their business that create less drag, bring more clarities, and actually help buyers buy. I think the challenge in the market today and the challenge that exists for us going forward is we're competing on this. I call it competing on features alone. It's just a race to the bottom, right?
Right.
And we've been doing that for so long that all the infrastructure, all the technology that you're using today, they're all racing to the same bottom as we were before. And so if I was going to give someone advice on how they should go out and build, whether it's with us or with any other organization, you need to look for companies that are building platforms, because platforms are the path forward. You don't need 18 different data lakes in your business to store 18 different data models. Nobody's even thinking about the fact that agentic AI is going to increase their consumption and data loading costs more than ever before. If you think about what the CRM was before, CRM was sellers' opinions. Sellers' opinions had 10 or 12 different words inside of these sections. Agentic AI is going to bring a whole different level of data management, a whole different level of the cloud application costs that you didn't think of before. And so I think people are a little bit too focused on just deploying agents into their business for the fact that they can raise their hand and say, hey, we're using AI. I think what people really need to figure out is, what do agentic workers actually solve for your business? Where in the application and approach are they most effective in solving those problems for you? And then what companies on the back of that should I be working with to deploy AI? Because I believe that the real path to the future is a collaborative, transparent, and more effective streamlined communication process between the systems that exist inside your business. And so that's going to come from platforms, and that's going to come from collaboration between your agentic systems.
Absolutely, absolutely, and we heard it here first with Noah from Augment.co. Make sure to check that out. Noah, pleasure having you. That was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. This is super valuable for our network.
Yeah, thank you so much. And, thank you to the Imperial Arts group as well. I think you guys have done a fantastic job of finding some amazing leaders in the space to have these discussions. And so at Augment, we are happy to, explore our network, introduce you to guys, whoever. You guys have just done an absolute streamlined job here. And I really appreciate you giving the time to us to be able to talk.
Wonderful, Noah. Thank you so much.